Imagine a life so bleak, so devoid of love, that even a stray dog's existence seems enviably until a single, fateful moment changes everything. Dive into the heart-wrenching yet uplifting tale of a girl whose world transforms from despair to hope in the arms of an unlikely savior. Subscribe now to unlock this unforgettable story and more, where every page turn reveals a twist that will keep you captivated until the very end. In the shadow of a crumbling tenement in a forgotten corner of the city, Lila's life was a relentless cycle of misery, worse than the stray dogs that rummaged through the alley's garbage. At 17, she was a wisp of a girl, her frail frame barely holding up under the weight of her stepmother's cruelty and her stepsister's scorn. Her days began before dawn, scrubbing floors until her knuckles bled, cooking meager meals she was never allowed to eat, and enduring venomous insults that cut deeper than any knife. Her father, long dead, had left her nothing but memories of warmth, now faded like the tattered dress she wore. The attic where she slept was a prison of cobwebs and cold, with a single cracked window that let in more wind than light. The dogs in the alley, at least, had each other. Lila had no one. Her stepmother, Agnes, ruled the house with a tyrant's glee, her voice a whip that lashed out at Lila's every mistake. "You're nothing but a burden," Agnes would snarl, her eyes glinting with malice, while her daughters, Clara and Beatrice, laughed, their manicured hands tossing scraps at Lila as if she were less than human. School was a distant dream. Agnes had pulled her out years ago, claiming she was needed at home, though the truth was she wanted Lila's spirit broken, her existence erased. Yet, Lila clung to a flicker of hope, a stubborn spark that refused to die. She'd whisper to herself at night, clutching a locket at her father's last gift, promising she'd escape someday. That day came unexpectedly, wrapped in the chaos of a winter storm. The city was blanketed in snow, and Lila, sent to fetch groceries with coins that barely covered bread, slipped on an icy street corner. Her basket spilled, and as she scrambled to gather the frozen apples, a sleek black car screeched to a halt. Out stepped Julian Voss, the enigmatic CEO of Voss Industries, a man whose name was synonymous with power and mystery. His sharp gray eyes locked onto Lila, not with pity, but with a curiosity that made her heart stutter. "You're hurt," he said, his voice low but commanding, noticing the blood seeping through her thin coat from a gash on her knee. Lila froze, unaccustomed to kindness, but Julian knelt beside her, unfazed by the snow soaking his tailored suit. He insisted on driving her to a hospital, ignoring her protests. In the warmth of his car, Lila's guarded walls began to crack, though she couldn't fathom why a man like him cared. At the hospital, Julian didn't leave her side, his presence a shield against the world. When the doctor mentioned signs of malnutrition and old bruises, Julian's jaw tightened, a storm brewing in his eyes. "Who did this to you?" he demanded, and Lila, trembling, let slip fragments of her life, enough for Julian to piece together the horror. He made a decision then, one that would alter her life's course. "You're not going back there," he declared, his tone leaving no room for argument. Lila, stunned, couldn't believe it. Why would a stranger, let alone a billionaire, care about her? But Julian was no ordinary man. Haunted by his own past, a sister lost to abuse he couldn't prevent, he saw in Lila a chance at redemption. He took her to his penthouse, a world of glass and luxury that felt like a dream to Lila's weary soul. There, he vowed to protect her, to give her the life she deserved. But the transition wasn't seamless. Lila, scarred by years of distrust, struggled to accept his kindness, flinching at sudden movements, hoarding food out of habit. Julian, patient but firm, enrolled her in school, hired tutors, and introduced her to therapists who helped her unravel the knots of her trauma. Yet, the shadow of her past loomed. Agnes, enraged by Lila's absence, tracked her down, demanding her return, claiming legal guardianship. The confrontation was a spectacle. Agnes storming into Julian's office, spewing lies about Lila's ingratitude. But Julian, armed with lawyers and evidence of abuse, dismantled her claims, revealing Agnes's own financial desperation. The twist came when Lila discovered a letter in her father's locket, hidden in a secret compartment, a will that named her the sole heir to a modest but significant estate Agnes had concealed. This revelation turned the tables. Lila wasn't just a victim but a girl with power she'd never known. With Julian's guidance, She reclaimed her inheritance, exposing Agnes's fraud and ensuring her stepmother and stepsisters faced justice. But the story didn't end there. Another twist unraveled. Julian's interest in Lila wasn't just altruism. His sister, before her death, had known Lila's father, and their families were tied by a long-forgotten promise of mutual care. Julian's vow to protect Lila was as much a debt to the past as it was a commitment to her future. As months turned to years, Lila blossomed, her laughter filling the once sterile penthouse. She excelled in school, discovered a passion for art, and began to see herself not as a broken thing but as a force of resilience. Julian, too, changed, his guarded heart softening as he watched Lila thrive. Their bond, once rooted in salvation, grew into something deeper: mutual respect, trust, and a love that neither dared name until Lila, now 20, stood before him at a charity gala, no longer the shivering girl in the snow but a woman radiant with strength. "You saved me," she said, her voice steady. "But I'm not the only one who needed saving." Julian, caught off guard, realized she was right. In protecting her, he'd healed himself. The night ended with a promise not just to protect, but to build a life together, as equals. Agnes and her daughters faded into obscurity, their cruelty a distant memory, while Lila and Julian faced the future, their scars a testament to survival, their love a beacon of hope. The city, once a backdrop of despair, now sparkled with possibility, and Lila, who had lived worse than a dog, found her forever home, not just in Julian's penthouse, but in a world where she was finally, fiercely, free.